American households are carrying $1.28 trillion in credit card debt. The average interest rate on that debt, 24%. The average cardholder earns roughly $100 a year in cashback rewards. They pay roughly $1,000 in interest to get it. The bank designed that deal, not you. Right now, total U.S. household debt sits at $18.8 trillion, an all-time record. That number just hit a new high, according to the New York Federal Reserve's February 2026 report, and credit cards are only half the story. The second mechanism, it's parked in your driveway. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly how the extraction works, not in theory, in the math that runs on your actual accounts every single month. Let's establish the scale first. In 2008, total U.S. household debt was roughly $12.7 trillion. That was the year the system nearly collapsed. Today, we are 48% higher than that. After a financial crisis, after a global pandemic, after years of being told the consumer was deleveraging, here is how the rewards machine actually works. You spend $5,000 on your rewards card. You earn 2% back. That is $100. Now, you carry a $5,000 balance at 24% interest for 1 year. You pay approximately $1,200 in interest. Net transfer to the bank, roughly $1,100 from your pocket to theirs. The points are not a loyalty reward. They are a retention cost. The bank is paying $100 to keep a $1,000 annual revenue stream alive. That is a 10-to-1 return on their marketing spend. And then there is the minimum payment structure. A $5,000 balance at 24% interest. Paying the minimum each month. It takes approximately 17 years to clear. Total interest paid, over $10,000 on a $5,000 debt. The enemy is not the bank as a cartoon villain. The enemy is the architecture, minimum payments, compound interest schedules, and the deliberate obscuring of total cost. The system is not broken. It is working exactly as designed, and credit cards are only the first mechanism. Here is the second. The average new vehicle price in the U.S. right now, roughly $48,000. The average auto loan interest rate, between 8 and 9% at current levels. The average loan term, 72 months. On a $48,000 vehicle at 8.5% over 72 months, your monthly payment feels manageable. The total you will pay, over $61,000. The dealership sold you a monthly number, not a total cost. That is not an accident. And here is where the trap locks. For the first 24 to 30 months of that loan, the balance you owe exceeds the market value of the car. You cannot sell it to break even. You cannot trade it without rolling the loss forward. You are financially immobile. Now is the February 2026 New York Federal Reserve data. 7.7% of all auto loan balances are in delinquency. 5.2% are in serious delinquency. 90 or more days past due. That is the highest rate since 2010. 2010, the year after the last financial crisis. This is not 7.7% of irresponsible people. This is what happens when wages do not match asset price inflation, when interest rates double the cost of ownership overnight. Delinquency is not a character flaw showing up in data. It is a math problem, showing up as a human crisis. Now, run both mechanisms on the same household simultaneously. $8,000 in credit card debt at 24%. $35,000 remaining on an auto loan at 8.5%. Combined annual interest burden, approximately $4,900. Every year, just in interest. That is nearly $5,000 that cannot compound, cannot invest, cannot build a balance sheet. It's simply transfer. Most people have no idea what these numbers look like in their own accounts, not in theory, in actual dollars, leaving their household every month. That is the problem. Most people track their spending categories. They see Car payment, $855. They do not see interest component of that payment, $340 this month alone. There is a difference between knowing your balance and knowing your extraction rate. The tool I use to track exactly this is Empower. It aggregates every account, card and loan into one dashboard. It shows you not the payment, the interest extraction, per instrument, per month. When you see that number clearly, you make different decisions. No credit card required. Link in the description. The tool works. Now, here is where this gets worse. While you carry credit card debt at 24%, the S&P 500 has historically returned roughly 10% annually. You're paying 24% to borrow money. You're earning 10% on investments. That is a 14-point structural deficit, compounding against you every single year you carry a balance. Economists call this stuff the debt drag. It is the hidden tax on every dollar of wealth-building effort. Every dollar going to credit card interest is a dollar the bank compounds in their favor, not yours. Here is the question you should be asking. Not, what is my balance? But, what did I pay in interest last year? Not what you borrowed, what you paid just to have the balance. Most people have never calculated that number. The mathematically optimal exit is called the debt avalanche. You pay the minimum on every debt. Every surplus dollar goes to the highest interest rate first. Always the 24% credit card before the 8.5% auto loan. Not the largest balance, the highest rate. That distinction is worth thousands of dollars over a 3-year payoff window. There is also the balance transfer window. 0% promotional A. PR cards offer 12 to 18 months of interest-free breathing room. During that window, every payment attacks principal, not interest, but the trap inside the trap. If you do not clear the balance before the window closes, the deferred interest hits at full rate. This requires execution discipline, not just awareness. On the auto side, refinancing matters. Moving from 8.5% to 6% on a $30,000 remaining balance saves roughly $750 per year in interest. Not life-changing, but compounded over 3 years, that is over $2,000 that can move toward an asset instead of a lender. The system is not designed to show you this math. You have to run it yourself. In 2009, the CARD Act passed. It required banks to print on every statement exactly how long it would take to pay off your balance at the minimum payment, along with the total interest cost. Clear, mandatory, right there on the page. Consumer behavior barely changed. The disclosure existed. The behavior did not shift. The system won. Here is what the banks call their ideal customer internally. Not the person who pays their card off every month. They have a name for those customers. They call them deadbeats because they generate zero interest revenue. The most profitable customer is the one who almost pays it off every month. Enough credit discipline to stay active, not enough to eliminate the balance. Reliable, recurring, infinitely renewable revenue. At $1.28 trillion in revolving credit card debt, at 24% average interest, the annual extraction from American households is approaching $300 billion. Not from defaults, not from crises, from people doing exactly what the bank designed them to do. The rewards program is not a loyalty program. It is a $100 invoice for a $1,000 annual contract. Run that math the other way, and you will never look at your points balance the same way again. So now you know the extraction mechanism. The rewards lie, the monthly payment trap, the compounding gap that widens every month you carry a balance. But here is what most people miss. When auto delinquencies hit 5.2% in 2010, they were a symptom. The cause was something nobody was talking about yet. The same data pattern is forming right now, and it points to something much larger than credit cards. That breakdown is right here.